Which players have helped your team most in the first half? Let's take a look at the All-Breakout team next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Wednesday, July 14th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by the returning Scott White. Let's start with a corner infielder, Scott, either first base or third base. Who is your breakout player from those positions?
I mean, if we're going to combine both corner infield spots, the choice is pretty obvious, right? Vladimir Guerrero, who has had the breakout we all hoped would come someday. Turns out 2021 is the day. He's putting together maybe the best season of anybody named Vladimir Guerrero, which is saying something, considering his father is in the Hall of Fame, as a former AL MVP. A guy who hit well over 300 with 30-plus homers, basically from the time he set foot in the league. And the younger Vladimir Guerrero is challenging that. He's positioning himself to be clearly a top 5 pick in fantasy next year.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a 468-foot home run in the All-Star game off of Corbin Burns. He is currently the number 1 first baseman in both head-to-head points leagues and in Roto. Definitely, as of now, a top 5 pick in fantasy baseball next season. Let's move over to the middle infield position, Scott. Second base, shortstop, biggest breakout.
So this is a lot tougher. And while there are several pretty good candidates at second base, I think combining the two positions, Brandon Crawford is actually the name I want to pick here. 34 years old. And normally, even an all-star caliber shortstop, you see him getting into his 30s, and he usually doesn't make it much longer, especially as a shortstop. He might move to another position and have a strong end of his career that way. So to see somebody putting up career numbers at age 34 is very shocking. But he made an adjustment to his swing to elevate the ball more, and is seeing big power production as a result. He's already 3 away from his career high in home runs, and hasn't really seen much drop-off over the course of the season. Actually, he's got his batting average up almost to 290 now, so that's only been improving. Crawford at this point, I'm inclined to think if he was my starting shortstop in fantasy, I wouldn't be so motivated to look for an upgrade. I think there's a decent chance he sustains something close to this anyway.
Just a ridiculous season for Brandon Crawford. On top of all that, the 18 home runs, 289 batting average. He's chipped in 7 steals. So shout out to the San Francisco Giants. They've done a great job this season. Currently the best record in baseball. All right, Scott, how about in the outfield? Who's your breakout player there?
Oh, I only get to pick one, huh?
However many you want.
I'll pick Nick Castellanos. He was my choice to break out. One of my choices to break out at the start of the year, coming into the year. We saw the power production go up in his first year with the Reds last year, but obviously in a short season, there were some outlier numbers across the league. And one of them, I think, was how much Castellanos' batting average suffered, the bad BABIP luck he had. And we saw that normalize in a fuller season this year, while the power production has sustained. I mean, of course, you could go with his teammate Jesse Winker. You could go with Cedric Mullins of the Orioles here. There's a lot of good candidates for the outfield. But I think Nick Castellanos is the easy choice. It was the most predictable choice, and he's the choice I'm going with.
I love it. I always thought that he had that Freddie Freeman-esque season in that bat, hitting .331, 18 homers, 58 runs, 59 RBI for Nick Castellanos this season. A true breakout there. Let's wrap things up with a starting pitcher here, Scott. Who you got?
Oh, my goodness. You're making me pick just one of these. That's impossible. I'm going to go with Carlos Rodon, though. If I have to limit it to just one, I think his breakout has been the most impressive. Of course, he had that no-hitter early in the season. His strikeout rate has been amazing all year, though. A guy who we thought he maybe had strikeout potential in the past. Of course, he was a high draft pick, a top prospect, but never really put it all together until this year when he made some adjustments with a new pitching coach, incorporating his lower body and his delivery more. He's seen the fastball have a lot more life. He's had much better command of it, and the numbers have just been phenomenal. I do want to throw some other names in here just because it'd be a tragedy to leave them out. Kevin Gausman, Zach Wheeler, of course, Trevor Rogers, who was kind of like Carlos Rodon in in gaining stature this spring. Freddie Peralta, Robbie Ray. I can keep going, of course. There's a lot of breakout pitchers as there are every year, but they all deserve to be featured here.
Yeah, man, shout out to Robbie Ray, who goes over to the Toronto Blue Jays, limits the walks all of a sudden. The velocity is up. We knew he had great stuff, and he's finally putting it all together there in Toronto. So great job there by Robbie Ray. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.